Why are South Korean women not having babies? South Korea's fertility rate, already the lowest globally, has experienced another decline, raising concerns about potential national extinction. This situation has sparked ongoing discussions regarding strategies to reverse the trend, and experts have warned that if the current trends continue, the country's population of 51 million could be reduced by half by the year 2100. This worrisome trend has sparked a vital question. Why are South Korean women not having babies? As we proceed to answer this question, we encourage you to click the subscribe button to stay updated when a new video is uploaded. Meanwhile, let us look at key factors that are affecting the birth rate in South Korea. Challenges in childcare. Though the government has implemented various initiatives aimed at encouraging childbirth, many women in South Korea, a culture characterized by excessive work commitments and intense competition in the workplace, see the decision to take maternity leave as a significant risk. But the government is unrelenting. Since 2006, over 360 trillion won, approximately $270 billion, has been allocated to programs such as childcare subsidies, and parents receive a cash benefit of 2 million won, around $1,510, at the birth of a child. But for a country such as South Korea, with one of the worst gender pay gaps among members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, having a baby is not on the agenda of several women. This is because there are specific periods for promotions, and the fear of being overlooked during maternity leave is a cause for concern. Additionally, couples in this Asian country have expressed that substantial financial obligations are a barrier to marriage, often viewed as a necessary step before starting a family. A South Korean mother shared her experience of spending $5,400 monthly on 2 babysitters for her quadruplets while her husband works abroad. What family can afford such expenses to raise children? She questioned as she took extended leave from her job in the nuclear power sector to support her family. As the declining birth rate in South Korea is at an all-time high, let us examine another reason why South Korean women are not having babies. What is this reason? A lack of obligation from South Korean women. Many young women in South Korea express that, unlike their parents and grandparents, they do not feel compelled to start a family. They point to various factors, such as the instability of a challenging job market, high housing costs, gender and social disparities, limited social mobility, and the significant financial burden of raising children in a highly competitive environment. Women, in particular, have expressed concerns regarding a lingering patriarchal culture that places the majority of childcare responsibilities on them, while they also face workplace discrimination. Recent statistics indicate that 249,000 infants were born in the country in 2022, a decrease from 260,000 the previous year. Additionally, the average age of women at the time of childbirth increased to 33.5 years in 2022. Conversely, deaths rose to 372,800, compared to 317,680 the year before. South Korea's population reached its peak of 51.84 million in 2020, but declined to 51.74 million in 2021. Projections suggest that the population may further decrease to 37.66 million by 2032,070. Worried by the decrease in birth rate in 2022, President Yoon Suk-yeol's administration introduced a range of initiatives to address the declining birth rates in South Korea. These initiatives include incentives for childbearing and efforts to eradicate workplace discrimination against women, as the Yonhap news agency reported. The government has also committed to enhancing access to affordable housing and creating more employment opportunities for the youth. Regardless of what the government is doing to encourage childbearing, the decision not to have babies may be a result of late marriage or the decision to remain unmarried. Our subsequent discussion will expound on that. How marital status is affecting birth rate in South Korea. In South Korea, the connection between marriage and childbirth is undeniable, yet there are a growing number of women without children. This trend is exacerbated by the rise in women choosing to remain unmarried permanently, as well as the increasing tendency to marry later in life. Such delays not only shorten a woman's reproductive window, but also heighten the likelihood of infertility, potentially resulting in childlessness. Furthermore, as more South Korean women are enrolling in higher education, the extended duration dedicated to their studies may have influenced the timing of marriage. Nowadays, the trend of South Korean women delaying or opting out of marriage and childbirth ultimately is increasing, irrespective of the level of education attained. Women with lower educational classes tend to marry earlier. However, they are also more likely to remain without children. Among recent generations, there is a noticeable tendency for women to remain childless or choose not to have children for an extended period after marriage, irrespective of their educational background. A growing number ultimately decide to remain childless. This means that the rise in the number of women who remain unmarried, the postponement of childbirth following marriage, and the prevalence of childlessness within marriage are some of the notable reasons why South Korean women are not making babies. However, other factors contributing to this growing trend have continued to spark great concern, and one of them will be discussed shortly. The choice between having a career or a family. A 28-year-old woman employed in human resources recounted her observations of individuals who were compelled to resign or overlooked for promotions following their maternity leave, which ultimately influenced her decision to forego having children. Both men and women are entitled to a year of parental leave during the initial 8 years of their child's life. However, in 2022, only 7% of new fathers availed themselves of this leave, in stark contrast to 70% of new mothers. South Korean women hold the highest educational qualifications among OECD countries. Yet, the nation exhibits the most significant gender pay disparity, as mentioned earlier, and a higher-than-average rate of women unemployed compared to their male counterparts. Researchers assert that this situation illustrates women's dilemma, pursuing a career or starting a family. An increasing number are opting for their jobs. Shin, a South Korean woman, works at an after-school program where she instructs 5-year-olds in English. Although she is great with kids and thinks they are adorable, she does not have children of her own, even though she has been married for 6 years. According to her, both she and her husband had desired a child, but their busy professional lives and enjoyment of their current lifestyle caused time to slip away. She has now come to terms with how her lifestyle renders parenthood impossible. Seemingly, there are many more like her who did not consider childbirth a top priority. So, is there an end in sight to this prevailing situation? South Korean women not having babies is a national emergency. Developed nations worldwide are experiencing a decline in birth rates, yet none is facing such a severe situation as South Korea. The forecasts for the country are alarming. In the next 50 years, the number of working-age individuals is expected to decrease by half. The segment eligible for mandatory military service will diminish by 58%, and nearly 50% of the population will be over 65. This situation poses significant risks to the nation's economy, pension system, and overall security, prompting politicians to label it a national emergency. Successive administrations have invested substantial resources into addressing this issue for almost 2 decades. Couples with children receive significant financial support, including monthly allowances, subsidized housing, and complementary transportation services. Medical expenses, including those for IVF treatments, are also covered, albeit exclusively for married couples. Despite these financial incentives, their effectiveness has been questioned, prompting politicians to consider more unconventional approaches. These include employing nannies from Southeast Asia at wages below the legal minimum and offering exemptions from military service for men who father 3 children before the age of 30. Despite these efforts by the government, policymakers have faced criticism for failing to engage with the perspectives of young people, particularly women, regarding their needs. Consequently, over the past year, some organizations have conducted a nationwide dialogue with South Korean women to gain insights into their reasons for choosing not to have children. Most of those who responded chose work over having babies. Others opined that it was difficult to find a man who would share the chores and the childcare equally. As the situation persists, will there ever be a future for the unborn generation? There may be if South Korean women have a change of mind and decide to start procreating. As we conclude this video, we would like to hear your views on this issue. You are welcome to comment in the discussion box.